So when you're talking about internet, like I think there are at least like two things, right? So it's a platform itself, right? That you can do all sorts of activities there, right? So it's more like roads, like public spaces, that you can like do whatever the stuff, right, that you do in everyday life, right? But because like the offline spaces, right, got extended, right? So you have like these online spaces as well that you can do like more things, right? That like maybe impossible to do previously, or maybe it's just too expensive, right? To do previously, like talking with someone, for example, right? That like far away. Like previously, it's going to was very expensive, right? But like with the internet, right? All this is like make it like easily, like more easy for people to do those activities, right? So it can be like entertainment, it can be like personal, right? Communication, it can be business and trade, right? It can be also like something about the government or administration as well. So I think all of these activities, right, need some kind of protection, right? And people need to realize this, rights or get access to it, right? So if all those activities are important offline, right? Whether it's like trade, business, entertainment, education, or public administration, same thing also apply online as well. So if you protect those stuff offline, you're going to protect the space for that online as well. So I think that this is the first thing why internet freedom is so important, because internet in the first sense it means the space, right? And you need those space in order to do whatever activities, right? The second thing is that like what it comes with the internet, it's like information, right? And I think it is this information that form our identity, form our idea, form our thinking, right? So if it's got limited, it means that like there will be less options for us to choose from, right? There will be less imagination for us, right? If the internet only offers only certain kinds of information, right? But and not full range of information. So for me, internet is like at least two things, right? The platform and the information that running around on that. And I think like we need to protect both.
I think media freedom is important. Internet especially, I mean, in the context of Singapore, the internet is perhaps the freest public square. Of course, there are rules and regulations for the internet, but it's not as strict as the public square, the physical public square, right? So, which is why we need to preserve and keep the space as free as possible, so that as many people as possible can come and participate in the public square of the internet.
But freedom is not an end in itself, right? If freedom has a meaning itself, but it's also freedom and rights. You know, both freedom and rights. You know, they're also instrumental to other things, right? But like, take the case of privacy, right to privacy. We don't really have the concept of privacy, and I believe that's probably the same in Indonesia, because this is an inherent Western value. But in actual fact, you know, privacy has a value. You know, I mean, it's not only a human dignity, but it's instrumental to actualizing other forms of rights as well. Because if you don't have privacy in the election ballot, like there's no privacy there, that, you know, people can spy on what you actually vote for. You know, that's going to affect your life. I mean, maybe not for us in the city, but a lot of people in the rural area, you know, they really depend in the constituency where they vote. They really depend on the politicians to designate some of money, you know, for development projects. So if the ballot could be spied, there could be surveillance, you know, as to who vote for who, you know, that could affect your lives. You know what I mean? I mean, that's just a small example what privacy means, and maybe you have to show them by example that maybe it's not an end in itself. Because for us, privacy is not an end in itself, but maybe for the West, it's a part of human dignity, and they feel that it is an end in itself. In the university, because I also work as a professor in university. At least in university, I think that's where the free minds should be able to explore, and express themselves. So I guess that's outside of university campus. Maybe it's another story. But within university campus, you still have freedom of expression. You still have academic freedom. I think that's very vital to keep things going. But unfortunately, we're living under military regime, and even activities carried out by students are monitored, unfortunately. Yeah, but we have to have more professors and more university administrators who believe, in the power of the free minds, and to liberate it, rather than cage it, like I said.
Is there a curfew?
Well, it's constant. It's a constant fight, right? Because, like I said, it's a polarized society, and the polarized society is also orchestrated within university campus, right? So there are people who support a liberation of freedom and everything, and there are people who feel that no, we need to keep things still. We need to put a lid on it for now, but when?
Yeah.
when? Yeah, when you want to set it free.
I think fake news was there even before the internet, right? People do sit down in the coffee shops and they do gossip, they do share rumors, not all of which may not necessarily be true. Like I said, the internet is no different. People will share rumors, they will share gossip on Facebook, and during election time, the campaign period is so short, right? 9 to 10 days, and a lot of things are happening within that short period of time. There is very little space and time to fact check everything that is being said. So it is understandable that in that sense that where fake news will circulate. I mean, the more worrisome thing is when mainstream media start spreading fake news. During the last campaign, I faulted one mainstream media for sharing a fake news when they said, they quoted something as if I had said it, but that was not what I said. So I used my own social media platform to blast out the, hey, this is fake news, this is not what I said. So in that sense, I was able to counter the fake news which was coming from the mainstream media. So which is another avenue, right? If not for social media, I wouldn't have any other space for me to say, hey, this is not right, this is not what I said. I think there is a role for journalists because journalists help ordinary citizens make sense of the different issues that are there and how to think of an issue from different perspectives. But I think the advertisers have got to come in and empower the platforms which have employed these journalists, right? The people have got to come on board and support the platforms which have got this journal, because at the end of the day, journalists have got to eat, right? So they have got to be paid a proper salary, right? So which is why I think it's important, and sometimes the quality of journalism may not be there because viral news gets more advertisements, get more money than news that is properly written by journalists. Right? Yeah, I think that's where the government can play a role to tell the people to check the sources of the news that they read, to check in multiple, to check the source of a news at multiple places before they arrive at a conclusion. Of course, the internet being the place that it is, there are lots of fake news that is circulating in the internet as well. Yeah, so I think that's the role that the government can play in computer literacy education. Yeah, the internet is the future. And if we deprive our children from accessing the internet, not only accessing the internet, from giving them the knowledge as to how do we access the internet correctly, what are the information that we can get from it, what are the information that we need to check with someone else, what is the information that is fake, or what is the information that will lead me to extremism. So unless this is communicated to children at a very young age, then as they grow as adults, it becomes very difficult for them. So I think any government has got to make sure that education, especially touching on internet usage, touching on social media, has got to start from a very young age, and I would definitely advocate for that.